there, everyone. Let it be known that I can indeed be critical of Anne Rice's books, no matter how much I may love her writing style, and not completely blinded by nostalgia. And boy, do I have some words about this one. Oof. The Tale of the Body Thief, the fourth book in the Vampire Chronicles, definitely suffers from middle book syndrome, among other things. So this book picks up sometime after the events of the Queen of the Damned. The vampires who came together to fight Akasha in the previous book have all decided to go their separate ways. It's a thing for Rice's vampires to become sick of each other's presence after a while and just go off on their own and wander the world. Lestat has taken to prowling Miami, Florida. He also occasionally travels to England in order to interact with David Talbot. Now, Talbot was introduced in The Queen of the Damned as a high-ranking member of the Talamasca, an organization, a human organization, that studies the paranormal. And he's basically become Lestat's new fascination, and Lestat really wants to turn him into a vampire. Now, Lestat is also being followed by a strange man who seems to be reacting very strangely, as if he doesn't know how to control his body very well. And this man says to Lestat that he can switch bodies with people, and he offers Lestat the opportunity to live life again as a mortal. I don't think I need to tell you how bad of an idea this is. The majority of this book is Lestat being an idiot and proving he has learned literally nothing from his experiences with Akasha in the previous book. Nothing at all. The whole body switching thing, I'll admit, is an interesting concept, but it felt really out of place in this book. It seemed like just an excuse to throw Lestat in a human body just so Rice could write a few quick sex scenes, one of which was a rape, by the way. It's also incredibly convenient that shortly after he gains control of this new mortal body, that a couple of women decide they want to screw him because he's hot and charming or whatever. Look, I know one-night stands happen all the time in real life, but this is fiction, and most of the time when readers, and I mean, I'm using myself as an example here, but there are readers who prefer a certain amount of build-up, a certain amount of justification for things in fiction, that even if it's something that happens in real life, you know, we expect that. And there's like pretty much none of that. It felt like sex because why not? Why not just throw it in there because it's humans? I mean, the vampires don't do it, so I guess we gotta throw it in there somewhere, somehow. Only the second one felt like there was some kind of a justification for it, but even that was a little shaky. The second woman he has sex with happens to be a nun, temporarily taking time off because she wanted to find someone she felt right in fucking so she didn't die without knowing what it was like. And of course, Lestat happens to be meeting her in the hospital while he's recovering from a severe illness. That's ridiculously convenient. The nun is also there for another convenience: theological discussions. For context, this is one of the books that Anne Rice wrote during the time where she was becoming a hardcore Catholic, and she used Lestat as a tool through which to express and discuss her beliefs. In general, I'm not against that sort of thing. Authors will do what they want, whatever floats their boat. But like with most other things that happened in this book, it felt like it was a bit too much. Then, let's talk about Lestat being an idiot again for a moment, shall we? Then there's the fact that Lestat, of course, knew the whole body switching thing was a horrible idea. Louis told him it was a horrible idea. David told him it was a horrible idea. But fuck it, he was so blinded by his desire to live life as a human again that he just goes through with it anyways. And then, when he gets screwed over by the body thief, he's like, Oh, damn, I should have known this was coming. You think? He learned really, really quickly that he over-romanticized human life in his head. And... and that it's not all it's cracked up to be, which we as humans know that. We live it. I mean, I understand it in a way. He hasn't been human for over 200 years. But... that is literally the only thing he learns out of the entire thing of this book. I'm not joking. Another problem I had, and this is specifically an issue with me as a reader because of my preferences, but when I read a vampire novel, I expect there to be a certain degree of vampire shenanigans. Even and especially if the protagonist is a vampire or is heavily involved with them in some manner. And this being the 4th book in the Vampire Chronicles, it's supposed to be a vampire novel. And it technically is. But there's not a whole lot of vampire stuff in general that happens in this book. Very, very little of it, actually. If you were to completely remove the whole body thief plot thing, there's not a whole lot of anything left over. Which, sure, there's still a few parts with Lestat and David and the development of their relationship with each other, and you learn more about David, so it's good character development for him. But that's pretty much it. There's no other subplots or other characters that Lestat interacts with for any reason outside of what the plot wants him to do. What the plot basically requires him to do. Now, that's not a big deal if you're one of those people who likes the book. Then great, you enjoy the book, that's fine. That's wonderful, good for you. You probably really had a good time reading this book. And it's not a badly written book. It's written about as good as her other books are before this point. The problem is that Lestat is almost the exact same person at the end of the book that he was at the start of the book. And I did not want to read over 400 pages to figure that part out. Unnecessary. Really unnecessary. Realistically, I cannot rate this book any higher than 2 stars, and that's what I settled on. If I wasn't used to Rice's writing style, honestly, I don't think I would have finished it. I had a struggle finishing it back when I was a teenager when I first read it, and I had an easier time now growing and being an adult, but it's... you could pretty much avoid this book for the most part, and the one after, but I'll address that in its own video. And with the exception of the odd reference, once or twice in some of the other books, just briefly, there really is no reason to read this book. Like, someone could just summarize the entire book for you and you'd be fine with that. You probably wouldn't even need that. Anyway, that was my review for The Tale of the Body Thief. I'm interested to learn from those who actually enjoyed the book why that is. I'm legit curious. What is in this book that appeals to you? What made it enjoyable? Let me know in the comments. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching. I post a new video every Tuesday and Friday. Have a good one, guys. Bye!